week or two of that we've had soccer and of flag football. So bi-weekly meetings are usually going to be held up here. I do it up here because it's easy for me to get here. My office is right there. I don't like to do these at the fields unless I'm going to take you out there. For my flag football folks, I have 2 shifts that need to be covered, and they're tomorrow night from 5:45 to 8 and 6. Should be 6 to 9:15 is what it should be. So if you're interested, please at the end of the thing, please raise your hand, tell me you're interested in working those. As I told Jude, I may have to switch a soccer shift so he can come work flag football. And that happens all too often to where I need somebody in one sport. I know he's working soccer but can do multiple sports, so then I go draw somebody else from another sport to work that sport, and then he can move over. So if you ever get that email from me that evening and you're like, hey, I'm supposed to work sand volleyball, but these happen to coincide with one of your shifts or close enough, I will call you and or shoot you an email or a text message and say, hey, can you do this for me? Because I have somebody that can work for your shift. And typically I get a yes response. If you're dead set against doing a sport, please let me know so I don't schedule you for that sport. Other than that, that's what I need. A couple reminders. Tomorrow will be quizzes for every sport will go out from Jessica. She will send those out to everybody, and then they're due, ignore that date, that's an old date. They're due next Wednesday. And they will come out, and our schedules come out Friday morning. So, now that we're fully into flag football, sand volleyball, and outdoor soccer, our schedules now are all going to be on Do Sports Easy. So get your availability up to date on Do Sports Easy. For everybody that was working flag football, I know there was confusion. I know we had some struggles with the emails I sent out, the way I put you on Do Sports Easy and those other things. Make sure your availability is up to date. I hope to have our schedule out Friday morning. First thing I do is I check payroll, and then I do our schedule. For the people that are working sand volleyball, you notice there's like 4 shifts a week. I can't help you out on that. I'm trying to schedule people to make sure that you get at least 1 shift, if not every week, every other week. So if you're doing multiple sports and sand volleyball is one of them, you no longer work sand volleyball because you are going to be working other sports. It just helps out on making sure that I can spread the wealth as much as possible. If you haven't gotten on payroll, please do that. I think most everybody in this room has gotten on payroll. And then make sure you get on Do Sports Easy. I will give you a compliment. Everybody this year, for the most part, has gotten on a Do Sports Easy, filled out everything they were supposed to, and didn't ignore my instructions, and I was able to schedule you. So thank you for doing that. I certainly appreciate that. Some of the resources that we have: the competitive sports office line, the weather hotline, which is now the facility something weather line. So we've changed that. So if you're ever wondering, are we going to play, call that number. It's going to tell you if we're playing and what's on every field and every surface. So that includes the gazebo and that includes our field. So if you're actually like, hey, I just want to go out and recreate and have free play, the 962 RAIN number, we don't call it RAIN anymore, but I give you the acronym. You can call that and figure out if you and your buddies or friends want to go out and play. One of the other things that we have is this web page, which I think I've sent out a couple times. As you can see, this is where all of our training material is. How to approve payroll, which was important for the people that worked in September, is right there. I didn't show this at most of the things because it's right here on our website that we can do. It's also linked on our main page somewhere. So I put up our bi-weekly meeting. When I'm recording these, I will also put this back on at the end. So if you ever have any questions, it'll have October 2nd, 2019 PowerPoint. The one right below will say something similar with video behind it. So I upload those to YouTube. As you can see, all of outdoor soccer, sand volleyball, and flag football training has been put up here. So if you're ever like, I'm confused about a concept, you can always go back and look at what we had. And then you'll be all right to go from there. The one thing about approving payroll, I apologize for those of you that worked flag football. Not everybody was on payroll, so I'm taking flag football training and I'm putting that into October. So I'll put it probably sometime this weekend or next weekend where I know you're not working. So when you get the email from me, and soccer and sand volleyball got this email, Susan, please put these people in from this time to this time. If you were at training, you're going to get credit for the 2 to 2.5 hours that you were there. I put it in as one bulk revision. So you can see that you're in for 8 hours one day and then 4 hours the next day. That makes up for most of our training. So I try to make sure that you get paid for the time that you're here. If you see me put those in and you're like, hey, you only put me in for 10 hours, but I was here for 4 nights of training, which is 10 hours, and the night of practice game, which is 2.5 to 3.5 hours, depending on the sport you worked, I don't think I got full credit for that. Shoot me an email and I can correct it. Because you all deserve to get paid for that, and you deserve to get paid the correct amount. So take a look at that. For those of you that work sand volleyball and soccer, the time has passed because it's the second business day. Actually, I got about 40 some odd minutes to get that done, but we're still going to be in here. When you approve payroll, you will go in this, you will click on your timesheet. The code that ends in 00 is your training code. So it's like today or any training that we've had. The one that ends in 01 is your officials code. That means you're making $8.50 an hour when you do that. And then you can go ahead and approve those. Please don't start the next month. For today, you would click on it and you have to go back to September. October would appear, but you have to go back to September because you didn't work anything for us this month. Do not, and I repeat, do not add hours. I know we've had some snafus with it. That's all right. But make sure that if there are hours you're missing, you send me an email. And this is why you need to check it on the first business day when you get the email from Do Sports Easy. Susan sends out a bulk email to everybody on Do Sports Easy that works for us and says it's okay to approve your hours with how to do it. So as soon as you check that, you shoot me an email. You have till the second business day at 5 o'clock. If you don't do it, then we force it through and we say you're okay with it. You have to approve your hours because I don't want you to come back and say, hey, I'm not sure these are right. As I've told 1 or 2 people today, if you send me back the hours, send me back, I worked this day, this day, this day, this day from roughly this time to this time. And then I can double check it. Because if we're within about 0.5 hours, we're probably right. If I'm off by 5 hours, somebody's wrong in one of the cases. I want to make sure you get paid correctly. So please check that over. Are there questions about payroll? Has anybody struggled with it yet? Please don't be afraid if you have, because you're not alone. And I can promise you that. All right. So, Do Sports Easy. Remember to get your availability up to date. This includes this next week's time off. Obviously, if you're in flag football and haven't been on it yet, you still have until Friday morning. I will not do any scheduling until Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you're like, I don't know my schedule, I'm still trying to get it up to date, you've got plenty of time for this week. Setting the stopwatches, which I didn't bring up here because I forgot to put this in here. So every sport should be using stopwatch. Sand volleyball should have the 45-minute clock. If you don't have a stopwatch, you need to let me know. Soccer has 2 20-minute halves, and so does football. So when you set them, there's 2 buttons at the top above the timer. You hold the left one when you're in the countdown mode. You get the time, a count up mode, a countdown mode. So as you flip through it, you push that left button, it'll flip you through those 3 options. So if you're on the time, don't worry about the time. I try to set them, but if they're not set, they're not set. The next one is your count up mode. So if you push the green button in the middle, it'll start going up. Let it go. Hit the green button, reset it, go to the next one. So you hold that left button. When it starts blinking, it's going to blink in the furthest left one. So it's going to blink on this side. That's your hours. You hit the top right button, it moves it over to the minute. And then you add time by hitting the middle green button. So if you're at 5 minutes, you want to go up to 20, click that, it goes up. Then you hit the left button one time, it'll automatically put it back to where it needs to be. The red button on the bottom resets it. If your time is not right, talk to a supervisor first to make sure that they get it right. Because for flag football and or soccer, you need to start it immediately as soon as the ball is snapped or the ball is kicked. For sand volleyball, you start it right after you end the captain's meeting. Questions on that? If the clock goes dead, give it to the supervisor. I've got spare batteries. I've got spare watches that I keep in my office to make sure that we have enough. Okay? All right, some reminders through the week. Working with players. We had multiple ejections this week, and I've met with multiple players, and I've still yet to meet with multiple players. That's not a bad thing. You eject players. We've had more ejections this week than I think we had like the first 3 weeks of last year, which is a testament to you that you're not afraid to kick somebody out. But know why you kick them out. I got a report. I don't know who worked the flag football game last night. I haven't gotten to it yet. It was like, kid was grabbed from behind and drugged down or spun around. That's great. What led up to it? Was there any more information? Because I can tell you right now, that's probably not an ejection. So I got to get a hold of whoever the officials were. I haven't been in my office much today. But if you grab somebody from behind and just pull them down, that's probably just one unsportsmanlike. Or in soccer, it's probably just a yellow card. So make sure that we know going up to it what it is. So working with players, be approachable. If you give off that you're better than them and you're the official and you're going to tell them what to do, probably not approachable. But if you, in your captain's meeting, are like, if you have any questions, please come get us at a dead ball period, and we'll answer any questions. The way I say it to coaches when I work with coaches, and this is the way you need to say it to captains, you want to have a conversation, we'll talk. You want to yell at me, I'm going to walk away. But you got to find your fine line working with players. For players, I do the same thing. They start yelling and screaming about what wasn't called. I say, hey, what do you want to talk about? You can come and ask me any questions you want. Just do it at the appropriate time in an appropriate manner. If you were working soccer practice games the first night and you were there late, you seen how I handled a goalkeeper, and you seen how I handled what I would call our game effer-upper. The goalkeeper I yelled at and gave him a public warning because he decided he wanted to run his mouth. He wasn't incorrect, but he wasn't correct. So I had to let him know what's up. The other kid, he started running his mouth and wanted to ask questions. But he wasn't really asking questions. So I told him, you want to ask questions, you come to me. He goes, I got none. Then I looked at him and said, then I shouldn't hear you run your mouth. And then at the end of the game, he came up and asked a bunch of stupid questions, which is all right. But that's how I handle it. Hear what they have to say and respond accordingly. That's a terrible call. Does that warrant a response? No. Thank you. That's all you got to say, thank you. Okay, I'll look for it. I'll watch better next time. Whatever your response should be. Hey, did you see the slide over here? How long ago? At what point? Give me a little bit more context. The kid that's laying on the ground and got slid into, he's still down. I think we need to stop play. Okay, now we need to respond. Hey, will you watch the flag guarding on the line, or on the ball carrier? Okay, I'll watch for it. I didn't deem it flag guarding because there was no contact. That gives them the response that they're looking for. So make sure you respond appropriately. When you work in your captain's meetings, please don't add in stuff that you shouldn't add in. Here's an example. The two officials that were working this game are not in the room. But what was told to a captain, or to the captains, was, this is a men's game, I'm going to let more physicality go. What does that tell you? In a couple different lights. What does that tell the captains? Fight? Yeah, maybe. That we can push and shove each other, right?
Do what they want.
They can do what they want. What does it tell you if you play in a co-rec game and you have these two officials on the field? Or any officials that I can lump into this category?
Safety hazard.
Not a safety hazard, not really, but
Being prejudiced against girls.
yeah, they're going to say the ladies aren't as physical. They're not as tough as the men. Wrong. So don't ever say something like that to the captains. What you want to say to the captains is, hey, my name's Andy. Introduce yourself to the captains. You have any questions? Here's our sportsmanship policy. Here's our slide policy. Here's whatever policy that we have. And then go to 1-2. That's it. In volleyball, it should be much, much simpler. It should be all of a minute long for volleyball, and probably no more than 2 for flag football and or soccer. If they want to get in and be like, well, what constitutes a slide, or what constitutes flag guarding, or what's it? Any contact will be this. For slide, here's the slide rules, and quickly brief them. If they want to start getting to hypotheticals and be like, we'll start calling the game, and if you have questions, then we'll answer them. But please don't interject stuff that we talk about in training. In training, I absolutely say a men's game is probably going to be more physical than a women's game or a co-rec game. It is not called differently. The physicality goes up. Just like if you're in a Greek organization. Nothing against my Greeks. I love my Greeks. They bring fans. That adds a level to what our game has. I love when fans come out. It makes the game more exciting. It makes you want to have a better game, have better calls. But they present problems when they get out of line. And that's where my supervisors step in. But when you start saying, I'm not going to call any contact, or I'm going to let you play a little bit more, that's a problem. So when we do this, keep it short, simple, and to the point. And then if you need to keep going a little bit with it, then you talk to them. Because this game had 4 ejections in it. A couple on one team, 1 on the other. So please make sure that you don't interject those things. Because what I told the captain was, if I hadn't done that before the game or during the game, we'd had a different conversation with the officials. And I talked to both officials. So giving cards an unsportsmanlike contact, profane language, making it personal, excessive celebration, sliding in soccer. So profane language. There are a couple magic words that are automatically going to get you a yellow card and unsportsmanlike conduct. And if they're heard loud enough, that's what you do. Rarely, if ever, should you give out a red or an ejection for the dropping of the F-bomb, GD, and a few others. I get it, you're college students, so those words are part of people's vocabulary. Time and place has that. So what you want to do is give an unsportsmanlike conduct. More than likely, you're going to get my bad. Making it personal, you suck. You're terrible. You can be the worst official I've ever seen. And a lot of other things that we've had. They make it personal, it's at least an unsportsmanlike or a yellow card. If they make it too personal, they start talking about your mama, your dad, or whatever, brother, sister, they gotta go. That's where an automatic, when they start talking about different things about your family. It's been a while since I've had one of those. But if they say you suck, you're effing terrible, okay, we're probably not gonna kick them out. What you should say is, you're right, and see what they say back to you. If they keep going, then you eject them. But give them a little bit. We'll look at excessive celebrations today in some of our videos, and you've got to make sure you card these or give them unsportsmanlike. For my soccer officials, what's my slide rule, or our slide rule? Well, no sliding, but what are the cards associated with said slides?
Any contact is red.
Any contact is a red.
If it's a slide from behind, no matter where there's contact, it's an automatic red.
Slide outside the visual field is an automatic red. What's the yellow card?
If you slide into someone, then there's contact with the ball, then you give them a yellow card.
The ball has nothing to do with it.
I mean, when you slide into them and then there's no contact with the ball, but then you slide into somebody, you give them a red.
Correct. But the ball has not, if you slide and hit the ball and take somebody out, it's still a red card. If you slide, make contact with the ball, and don't make contact with the player, what card is that? Yellow, right? So it doesn't matter if the ball's contacted or not. It matters if you slide. So if you slide, it's an automatic card. Now, this is where I leave it up to your judgment. I slide out here in the middle of nowhere to save a ball from going out of bounds. This is fine because nobody's in jeopardy. But if I slide and I almost take somebody out, this is a card. Or if I mow through somebody, this is a card. Has to be. All right, so watch a play start, develop, and finish, and decide once you have all the facts what you want to do. This is an advantage for soccer. This is a marginal lift play or net play, or is this going to be flag gathering or not because they got deflagged right away? In every sport we have this semester, your whistle's in your hand. Every sport, it should be in your hand or around your neck so you can pull it and put it in your mouth. It's not basketball. You don't have to make a quick second decision. So this gives you time to go, nope, not one. I think I have a video of an official going like this, putting it back down, and not blowing the whistle. And then I have one in here that the official goes, boo! Yeah, it's still going in flag football. But they didn't blow their whistle dead. And we'll show you that why you don't blow an inadvertent whistle. How to talk to players, we already talked a little bit about this. And the captain's meeting, don't add filler and don't interject in players in front of your partner. So what I mean by don't interject in front of your partner, if there's a slide on the other side and my partner doesn't get it and somebody gets taken out, you interject on that one. there's marginal contact on the other side of the field and your partner doesn't get it or lets it go, don't be like, beep, because what does that do to your partner's credibility? Destroys the crap out of it. So it's the same thing in flag football. If you're the referee, your area coverage stops at the line of scrimmage. You roll with the quarterback breaks it, you watch a little bit, but if they're downfield and you're chucking pass interference downfield, you're wrong. If you're the field judge and you're calling stuff on the line, you're wrong. So try to stay in your primary. Now, somebody gets in a 3-point stance, picks the center up after the snap, and power drives him into the ground, and your referee and line judge doesn't get it, feel free to come get that. I don't think it's going to happen, but feel free to come get that. Scorecards, and I can attest this to volleyball as well. Our scorecards, everything in red should be filled out at the time. So the date, the time, the field, the team, date, time, field, the team. Flag football's got a backside. Soccer's only got one side. Sand volleyball, you don't have to fill it out, but you have to keep score. Oops. Everything in green is stuff you have to fill out. Offense, defense, defer, blah, blah, blah. The score at each half, and the total, the sportsmanship rating, anything that you have here. Why do we think this information down here is important? In green?
Our day. So if something happens, like if you hear about something, you can contact.
There are times that we will switch fields for some reasons, so I need to know who's working them. If you worked flag football last night, I had nobody's name on anything or on my sign-in sheet, so I go back to the game sheets. There were some that were filled out and some that weren't. So if I want to pay you, I need to know when you're working. I try to put things together because my supervisors didn't get to me right away, so I try to get you in there. The other thing is, yeah.
I wanted to ask, it's about soccer.
Yeah.
So if a player does the, like a spinning kick kind of goal type of thing, so if they score, do I give them a yellow card because that's a dangerous play?
The dangerous play would negate the goal. So if you're going to card for a slide tackle, I slide and I poke the ball beyond you, I get up and then I score a goal, I slid in your vicinity, I get a yellow card. Same thing with a dangerous play. If there's a dangerous play, it'll negate the goal. Now if the defense commits the dangerous play or the slide, we let that develop for a second and see if we are able to let that go. So if they score, then we count the goal, then we give the yellow card. So if it's on the offense, it's immediate. If it's on the defense, we let it see if we progress, and then we also go back and give that card. That's a good question. So the other thing we need to know here is if you're in a Greek organization or a bunch of friends come out, I get my supervisors are on like every team out here. They play like every night. If you're in a Greek organization and they're playing on Team Zach, and you're part of Team Zach Greek organization, let the supervisor know that you need to be moved. Because what I don't want is Team Danny being your rival, and they hate you, and they know that you're part of Team Zach, and they go, you just hate us, so you're going to try to screw us over. And if it happens to be one way, regardless of you being impartial, which you should be, it's going to look that way. So please, if that happens, my supervisors will try to move you. Now, if you're working flag football tonight, there's only one field, it's going to be tough. We'll put you in a position that's going to be least impactful. Yeah?
Oh, and also about the language. You said that if maybe I made a call and then you're like, you effing suck or whatever, maybe I can eject them. And what if they are not speaking English? Because I was officiating in the last match and then I made a call, they started like complaining in French.
If you speak French and you know what they said, translate it when you put it down on the ejection report and let me know. I don't speak much of any other foreign language, so they start cussing at me, I'm like, okay. You can still eject them for whatever they did, but if you don't know exactly what they say, just be like, it sounded like they're degrading me in a foreign language that I couldn't understand. Here's the actions that led to the ejection. But if you're ejecting them just because they're speaking a foreign language, I would have a tough time with that one. So, but if you understand the language or you speak the language, and you know what they said, absolutely eject them. And then in your report said, in French, they said this to me. Because then I can be like, this is what you said to my official. And they understand what you said. I will probably call you the next morning to make sure that, hey, this is correct. But absolutely. But we've had different populations come through. And some of our Middle Eastern students that play soccer, like you said, they say a lot of different things that I don't understand. I'm not going to do anything to them because I don't know what they said. But that's a good point. But yes, if you speak French, please put that into it. Back to the Greek organization of the teams, please make sure you remove yourself, or we try to put you in a position that will be least impactful. All right. Quiz. All right, for my soccer people, this is your quiz from last week. We'll go over it. A lot of you took it, which I appreciate. You all get a point for the incentive point program for doing this. You also get one for being here today. So in a co-rec game, can a team in the field play with 1 female, 5 males, and a female goalkeeper?
Yes.
Why? Why no?
Because goalies don't count, right? Towards like the ratio.
What's our ratio, though?
I don't remember.
So if there are 6 players, then there has to be like 3 girls and 3 boys, and then the goalkeeper can be either gender in this.
All right, so we play 9 on 9, right? 5 and 4. What's the minimum of each gender that you have to have out on the field? 2. What's the maximum you can have on the field? 5. So what do we have here? 5 males, goalkeeper that's a female, and a female on the field. Meets our minimum, meets our ratio. So in this case, this one is true. Last year we used to make them play with a male in the goal because that's who had more. We have changed that rule this year to say anybody can be the goalkeeper. You need at least 2 of one gender and maximum of 5 of the other. So they would be able to play with this. They cannot throw 6 males or 7 males on the field. That is illegal. So they could have 10 males come out. You can only have 5. And this is where you've got to make sure your ratios are correct. What is our mercy rule in soccer?
If they score 20.
10 at 5, or 15 at 5, 10 at 2. Brandon, do you have something?
I was just gonna answer.
Oh, okay. I'm throwing it out for everybody. How long is overtime for us?
3 minutes until somebody scores.
3 minutes or until somebody scores. What if we're tied at the end of overtime?
Penalty kicks.
What if we're in co-rec?
They have to set an order of alternating male, female, male every 5 minutes.
Every 5 kicks. So in men's and women's, it's 5 kickers, and then we go down to 1 sudden death. In co-rec, it's 5 and 5. That's how we do it. Unsportsmanlike conduct is penalized by a free kick. Somebody goes, you effing suck. Then I get a free kick for that? So how are you doing this?
I'll give them a card.
You give them a card, then what happens after that? They get a free kick, right? Now, this one was a little, when I read this one just a little bit ago, I was like, this sounds a little weird. So, if it's a unsportsmanlike yellow that's not contact, so they don't slide, they don't make contact, they don't push somebody, it's you suck, or they go out and chastise the other team, that's an indirect kick. So you put your hand up like this, it's an indirect kick, and you still penalize that. A ball's played back to the goalie from their own team, and they pick it up. What happens next?
Free kick from the spot where the goalie picked it up.
Free kick from the spot of the goalie. If it's inside the 6, we bring it out to the 6. But that's the same and everything. The clock stops when all goals under a minute. False. So if it goes in, they try to get it back to midfield, give the team a time to get back, and then they go. If they're celebrating excessively, that's when you can stop the clock. If they're deliberately trying to slow the game down. But typically we don't. Slide without contact in the visual field of the opponent will result in an automatic red. Yellow. All right. So we're hitting our mid-season for soccer. Players are starting to hit their stride. We need to be hitting our stride as well. We were out at flag football training. I turned around to one of our soccer officials and said, I know you can run up and down the field a little bit quicker than that. They changed their tune. They got up and down the field a little bit, which is nice. But we need to make sure that we're doing that even when I'm not out there or my supervisors aren't paying attention to you on that field and they're on the other field. What I don't want is somebody like this out there, and all of a sudden they see myself, Danny, or Ryan come out there and they're like, and then they see us leave and they're like, you never know if we walk up and we're sitting in the office, or I happen to be walking by the fields and I look through and I see this, and all of a sudden you see me come and you're like this. I see those changes. So please be the second option all the time. You need to match the intensity of the game, bigger calls, louder whistles, crisper mechanics. Sometimes you need to step in and give the mechanics so that they know that you're there. This is what happened in one of the games last week, is we didn't step in quick enough, and then crap hit the fan. That's a problem. Talk to players when you can. A 2 sportsmanship rating means reports need to happen. So if you give a 2, I know, you need to let me know. A 2 means that you had at least an ejection or multiple cards or multiple unsportsmanlikes. If you don't write a report. It automatically goes back to a 3 because you didn't do your job. Football is underway. Whistles to end the play and give the signal. Crisp mechanics use sharp whistles. Throw penalty straight hit the spot. What does saga mean? Signal. Ask. Go enforce the penalty. Announce. So you come out and you give this little signal. I ask the captain what they want their option are. I enforce or don't enforce the penalty according to their option. Come out. Legal contact on the defense, whatever it is, the down and distance. And then learn from the soups each shift. I'm going to try putting soups on your shifts. From what I heard from practice games, you all did a pretty good job, and I want you to keep it up and I want you to build upon it. I didn't hear much from last night, so that's a good thing. So if you worked last night, thank you. All right, here's some plays. All right, so watch this. Anybody can answer, and let me know what you may or may not have. Hopefully this plays again. I'll give you one more time to look at it. All right, soccer people, what you got?
You answered after the fact, but you still went at the player.
You'll see this. What do you have?
The keeper sliding.
So what card would you give this keeper?
He didn't really take the player down, so I would give him a warning.
You give him a warning. At what point would you give him a warning? Right now, blow the whistle dead, give him a warning? Right now? At what point do you give that keeper a warning?
Like when he was sliding, I would stop the game and then.
So if you stop the game right, let's see if I can get it, right here. Who you give him the ball? Who you can give the ball to?
Actually, I have to give the offense the chance to score.
So, but he gets the ball. The reason I put this play in here is because this is the way I've been told that keepers are taught to defend this kind of play. So they make themselves as wide as possible and go to the ground like that. Now, this is tough because he puts this guy in a compromising position. I'm in agreement that I may not give this person a card, but I also may give them a card and be like, this is not a legal play for us because you're going to the ground. First time early in the game, keeper, you got to keep up. Can't go to your knee like that. Second time, I'm probably giving them a card. Third time, they're probably walking away. So they need to keep up with this because if this guy trips over this keeper, he or she could get hurt, and now we're in trouble. The official's not in bad position right here. They've got a pretty good look at this. They just need to be down the field a little bit more and be able to roll in that. You're right. If you don't give a card, keeper, keep your feet, and then keep moving. I probably don't stop the game on that. If I stop the game to give a card, I'm now going to give a penalty kick, which is, it happens when that keeper has it. All right, flag football. Some old video, but still useful video.
Clock's rolling.
What do you notice about this play? I want you to describe a couple things in this play, or at least I'll show.
Close. First down. What are you on game?
Huh? No, it's this one. So what I want you to see on this play is right here. As officials, you need to be yelling back on that one. The official does a pretty good job to come back to the line to gain. The player does a good job keeping his hands up. The other thing you want to say, He's communicating with you. Clock's rolling. This is under 2 minutes. He hustled.
Play is closed.
He picked up his pace to do this. And then gave the down and distance and the play was closed. So, that's what I want you to see on that play. All right, back to my soccer, folks. You watch this again. Watch his hand. See why I keep the whistle out of our mouth? This is even for flag football. Possible penalty. Possible penalty. He's like, nope, I don't want it. Which is fine. He's in decent position right here. As you can see, he starts moving down the field. He stops. He thinks about it. Doesn't like it. Keeps the whistle out of his mouth. That's what I want you to do. Every time. Because inevitably, you're going to have what happens in a little bit. I think it might actually be this play. Oh, maybe not. So let's watch this one again.
Communication.
I have to see it. I'm commentating this on the other side of the field.
There you go, communication.
This guy right here.
Looks offside.
It's tough because the line's right here. So he's right here. It looks like he jumps the snap for encroachment. Now, this guy right here needs to throw that flag high. He needs to put that thing in the sky. That is weak. Weak flag. He needs to put that thing 25, 30 feet in the air and let everybody know he's got a flag. So, all right, my soccer folks. What I want to show here, a former supervisor of ours, he should have been here on that kick. But what you watch here, so he grants the corner. Look where he's standing. Why do you think he should be standing right here?
To see if the ball will go past or maybe will touch the line.
See if the ball goes out from the delivery.
So he's got this line of responsibility, right? So he needs to know if that ball gets scored, how much of the ball has to cross the line in order for it to be counted as a goal or out of bounds. The entire thing, right? So he's here watching this. This line's not really of much use to him right now because he knows the ball's going this way. If it was coming the other way, if the corner kick was over here, he'd be right about here. So he can watch both. But he should have gotten there a little quicker. That's all right. And then he needs to watch this line. That's where I want you on every corner kick. Every time. No questions. All right, back to my flag, people. Do you see what happened? I'll play one more time. All right, so we'll break this one down. Watch number one here. Tell me if this is legal. Is what number one did legal? Watch him one more time. Watch what he does. Is that legal? Yes, that part's legal. This is him just resetting.
I was looking to see if the ball was like set first.
Now watch this right here. So legal.
He moves the ball. Yeah.
Ha, that's illegal right there. So, what penalty is this? Illegal snap. It's a dead ball penalty. It's 5 yards from previous spot. So what he does is fine. He doesn't simulate a snap. Nobody comes in. I'm let that one go. What he does is illegal. So he's fine. He's not. You've got to watch multiple things on this play. Fine. Illegal. And then he's like, I didn't do anything wrong.
I got a question.
Yep.
There was a team yesterday. They were like jet motioning towards the line of scrimmage. That's illegal motion, right?
They were coming forward?
Yes.
Yes, it's illegal motion. They cannot come forward at the time of the snap. They can go sideways or backwards.
So any forward movement.
Anybody coming forward at the time of the snap is illegal.
Okay.
So if I go in motion, I'm legal since I go parallel with the line of scrimmage. Parallel or back is fine. Anything towards is not. So if I start back here and I'm running sideways-ish, but I'm coming forward at the time of the snap, just throw it high and let it happen, because the other team intercepts it, they want to keep the
That's a
ball.
blow and go.
It's a throw and go. Throw and go, yeah. But you're good. All right, soccer peeps. All right, see it one more time. I'll go back. Watch it one more time. What do you have here?
They call it handball?
Yeah, it's a handball. Now listen to his reaction. So he knows it. Now he does this. Is this legal? So what they want now is 10 yards. So again, a former supervisor backs him up. So we are now playing on his whistle. His steps need to be a little bit bigger. The flag football people know that. So he's like, all right, you need to be right there. And he's like, oh, you gotta wait on me. So now he's got to get in position because my other person's right here. He needs to put his hand down because that's not what he's supposed to do. But we handled most of this correctly. He got the whistle. We see it. He knows it. And this happens right here. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you play quickly. So now he's going to say, all right, we're going to move him back 10. Now you have to play on my whistle. All right, watch this play and don't cringe too hard. Remember I talked about that whistle? She even had it out of her mouth. So, a couple things that we're watching here. We're watching this a little bit right here. We'll talk about that in a second. But she puts her hand up and blows her whistle. So this right here, you see this marginal contact happen as this goes right here? Probably not much. We probably let that go. This is what the problem is. She blows her whistle dead at the time of the snap. These are old fields. You can see our old sheds. It's really old footage, but it's still good footage. So right here, she realizes, hey, I think it's pulled. His flags are still on his hips. She blows it dead. What do we have to do? What are the two options they have in this case?
We can redo the play.
They can replay the down from where?
The line of scrimmage.
From the previous spot.
Play pretty much dead.
Yep.
Or they can take the spot that she gives.
So she gives this spot right about here. It was first down. So this would be second down in this short yardage to gain. So you go to the captain and be like, hey, we screwed up. Fully admit it, hey, we blew this one. So you can either replay the down or take it second down and short. Which one you want? Shouldn't have blown her whistle. You're right, you probably shouldn't have. That's all right, it happens. I've done it. I'll be the first to admit I've done it. I've watched a lot of people do it. Inevitably, somebody out here is going to do it, and we're going to get it on film again. So don't be that person, please. If you see the camera, you're going to be like, whistle in the pocket, and you can come up and be like, nope, nope. So just remember that. All right, watch this play right here. This goes to my soccer people. This was sent out on video. This was sent out this week on our bi-weekly video. So, we've got two players going to the ground right here. Oops. Two players going to the ground right here. Two slides. They contact each other. We got one guy and another guy complaining. So, as I said in the video, guess what's going to happen? Red card, red card. Right here, double red. He does what he does. If we call this, he probably doesn't say it. But as soon as you give this person a red and this person red, he's going to lose his gasket. I can tell you that right now. The way he reacted to this. So, So what we need to do, in this case, after we card both of those, and this ports to any other sport, you clap at me, you're getting a card. You clap at me, you're getting unsportsmanlike contact. Come on! That's at me. I don't tolerate. Coaches start stamping down the sideline of basketball, I sit their ass down. They ain't going to come running down the sideline at me. They ain't going to clap at me. As I tell them, you want to talk? I tell them to work that sideline. They got the baseline to the 28-foot mark. They can wear the hell out of it. But as soon as they start stomping and yelling at me, you can have a seat for the rest of the game.
So in this case, where you give both players a yellow or a red, whose ball is it?
Red, and he's going to get a yellow. So I'm probably going to do a drop ball or give it back to yellow, since We had one on green, one on yellow, one on green. I'm giving it to yellow because he's a fool. You do that, you're getting a card every time. Goes for any sport we have. Sand volleyball, they don't like it, they clap at you, you give them a card. That's why you have them out there. He's just pointing, he's not bad. But they score on this. So by us not putting air in the whistle, gives the other team a score, which is not what we want. All right, my last one. I sent this one out as well. I got nothing here. Here's where I got the problem. That's a yellow card.
There's a chest bump. That's not.
No. That's the jersey. Him taking on this goes for flag football as well. I don't think it's going to happen in sand volleyball. I don't think they can take their own shirt off and wave it around. They might, but it's going to be a hard press. That's fine. I have no issue with that. It's him taking that off and wavering it. Questions? All right. If you're able to take those shifts, please let me know in about 2 minutes.